National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
You're going to call anyone that loves you. You're going to ask them if you can use their card to buy concert tickets because your card's maxed out. Okay. If they say yes, you get the tickets.
I can't call my parents because they already think I make bad financial decisions. Well, so I think I'll call one of my friends.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous. I feel tingly.
What's your not answer?
Giovanna?
Yes.
I was on SeatGeek earlier and I saw 2 tickets for Olivia Rodrigo at a really, really, really good price. So
Oh my god.
I maxed my credit card out by accident last week. Do you think I could use yours to buy the tickets?
Oh my god, yes.
Did I what?
Yeah, you got the tickets. You got the tickets.
I just want tickets. We're going to go to the concert together. Giovanna, I'll call you later. Love you. Thanks for picking up. Oh my god. I'm going to see Olivia Rodrigo.
Yes, thank you, SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, it's time to experience the O's on the Original Sports Podcast.
Fellas, what's going on? How's everybody doing tonight?
Man, just happy to be here. Another day, another day. I'm glad to be here. My Steelers got another win. I'm feeling good.
Oh yeah. You can't even imagine how I felt when I woke up this morning knowing that they grabbed that dub. I know it was a tough one. I get it.
You went to sleep?
I did.
Oh,
Like
the
maybe-
field goal fast.
Sleep, or did you-
Sleep.
like maybe 4 hours, but not, like I was so hyped.
Man,
I personally, I didn't feel like they played great defense,
no, me neither.
but offensively,
But look here. I've been talking to some other guys, and I was like, man, I wanted Russ to start from the beginning. Remember, guys, I said I wanted Russ. But
Yeah.
then once Field started, I said he's got 4 wins. It's hard to, you know what I'm saying? He's got wins. How do you sit him at this point, right?
yeah,
Now, we've seen Russ for 2 games, and I've been telling fellas, yo, this is definitely a different team. This offense looks significantly different under Russ. Everybody's saying, yeah, Mike, but you have to realize, look who they played, the Jets and the Giants. And I get that. But here's the thing. They're doing what they're supposed to do against. If you think those defenses are weak, with the Jets defense, it's still, their offense has been letting them down. That defense is still nice on the Jets. The Steelers' offense is doing what they're supposed to do. The Jets, I guess, were struggling, so the offense came in and did what they were supposed to do. The Giants don't have a great defense, so the Steelers' offense came in and did what they were supposed to do. Where we've seen them before against soft defenses play down to the level of competition. Where I was excited about the offense. I really was.
yeah. I mean, how can you not be? Honestly, and Sheen, you know what I noticed yesterday? Before we go much further, I noticed that when Najee was getting his carries, he was squaring his shoulders up to the hole and going straight downhill.
It's funny you say that. I also seen him do a come in, seated to bounce out, scoot out, and go.
Yes.
Like, well, okay, now she got his glasses on today.
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying, Mark, because I noticed that too. But I think he's hearing a lot of the Pittsburgh, the fans rumbling. He has to hear it, how people are liking the way Warren and even Patterson hits the hole faster than he does. And he did. He looked like he got a shot of B12. He was hitting that hole a lot faster. He was. He was.
Yeah.
Where
I
is-
was. How could
Speaking
you
of
not? be
Cordero,
happy?
where is Cordero?
I think
Okay.
they set him out. He'll be back after the bye week. I think it was a game time decision or a couple hours before game time where they said we're still not going to play him. You know what I mean? So but again, I was also saying for the last couple of weeks, I would like to see Patterson as a punt returner. I understand he may not have the wheels he had years ago, but I still think he can see the field with a vision because I wasn't seeing much from Austin. Austin made me said, oh, look here, old head. Oh, Austin said, sit down, bro. Let the young buck handle this. He took it to the house, man. I liked it. I was satisfied. And you know what the defense said, regardless of how we disagreed on it, the defense might have let you down against Dallas. They stood up this time. They stood up this time and did not give it up. They did not give it up. So I was geeked about that.
Sis, you with us?
He is.
Yeah, I'm here. What the hell? I just let the chip up ham roll his mouth. Hey, I think it's a confidence factor. I know. I'm getting ready for Halloween. Don't even need to put a mask on. With Russ behind the wheel, this is, I think, a huge confidence factor. You had 3 guys with over 50 yards. Pickens 2 games in a row now. He's doing fantastic.
Pickens is Pro Bowl bound now, fellas.
Yeah, Najee, 114 yards on 19 carries, averaging $6 a carry. That's huge. And you got the big guy in there, Washington. He had that 20-yard catch. He had 29 total yards.
He's huge.
He's spreading the ball around, but you just sense a sense of confidence with him as opposed to Fields, who has the wheels, but I don't know.
He don't have the touch. Russ has the touch.
I like Russ back there.
Sheen, and you know the crazy part about it, fellas, let's keep it a buck, straight up and down like 6 o'clock. Yes, Russ has opened it up and he's letting it fly, but a lot of those passes are underthrown. They're whatever, but he's completing them. They're not pretty. He's not hitting anybody in stride, letting them keep moving. Everybody's got to make nice, but they're completions. They are completions.
Even the one to Scotty Miller. Hey, that shit went right through his hands.
That
went right through his hands.
Yeah. He dropped that in. He dropped that in.
Deep, I don't know if you throw it to Scotty Miller.
I know. Pickens comes up with that.
Maybe I will tell you though, Scotty Miller impressed me with his wheels last night. Like he blew right by that dude.
Yeah,
he blew right by. He ran him out. He ran him inside out, and he blew right by him. I was like, "White boy got wheels."
So, okay, real quick on the touchdown that wasn't a touchdown with Pickens. Okay, so let's just say sake of argument, you're running an out route. Okay, you run the out route and you catch it and turn up field, but when you turn up, you get hit instantly. And you may get on one, and we've seen other guys do it, where you get hit and you're on the sideline, but you can't put your 1 foot down, but you hop for 7, 8, 9 more yards on that 1 foot. So that is and I thought about it, and Watt said it last night. JJ said it during halftime. So if that was to happen, that's not a completion. Like if you happen to catch a pass, you run out, catch a pass, and turn up, but when you turn up, only 1 foot gets down. Sometimes it's a bang bang.
Are you hopping all the way to the end zone?
Well, or you hop for like 6, 7 yards, and then your momentum takes you out of bounds.
So you're out of bounds right there. You're out.
But it was only that
you're
1
asking,
foot.
is
You
that a
never had
catch?
2 foot down.
You're asking, is it a catch? I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I said last night in the chat. I said he got 2 feet. It just happened to be 2 right feet.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't get that. You know what I'm and I say that, and I thought about it, but I'm glad JJ Watt said it. But if a guy does it and you get 1 foot and you hop for an extra 5, 6 yards, because those guys' balance is phenomenal. You hop an extra 5, 6 yards, and then you go out of bounds. Do you get it where he initially hit you? Is it not a catch? I don't know, man. I don't know. And they say, go ahead.
I'll be honest with you. They blew some calls last night. Like the one he took to the house, the one Austin took to the house. They could have called roughing the punter on that one, but he got blocked. He got blocked into him, and I think they were a little like, I don't know. Can we call that shit? Because he got blocked into him. They were a little skeptical on that. So
and here's my question to all of you. You've been watching football since you were knee high to a grasshopper. Now, between what we've seen over the years, between Dez Bryant, Calvin Johnson for the Detroit, that catch last night, fellas, do we even know what a catch is nowadays in the NFL? You have no idea, because to me, honestly, that looked like a touchdown. I don't care if that would have been a Giants guy, I would have been like, that's a touchdown. Now they had to replay or whatever. It's like we don't even know what a catch is anymore. We don't.
Well, it's listed as something in the rule book. It's listed as something, but the referees are so they use, it's more judgmental than anything anymore with so much stuff, whether it's hitting a quarterback or hitting a receiver that's defenseless. Even if he catches the ball, takes 5 steps, you hit him too hard, so we're calling that defenseless. Hey, you could have called Minka for a defenseless hit last night. Think about how he turned on that dude and whacked him, but no,
he had the ball. He had the ball. He wasn't defenseless. He hit him in the
what bothers me about that? Yeah. But it bothers me when they say a defenseless receiver, but he sees you enough to sort of go into turtle mode. When a receiver starts to go into turtle mode, that's his only defense. You know what I mean? It just I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, that great discussion, good stuff to talk about, because that game was for us as Steeler fans, that game was so pivotal because now they're 6-2 going into the second half of the season. And I think in our group chat, when we were talking about this, fellas, I think we realized that, Cleveland's not what they had anticipated them being. Cincinnati is not what we anticipated them to be. Fellas, I'm even going to tell you the Ravens are not what we anticipate them to be. The Ravens give up a lot of points. Sure, they're scoring points, but they're giving up a lot of points. Teams are gashing them.
Their defense, they are running.
Yeah, Kansas City, they're living off of their defense. It's not Mahomes. I just read an article where it's a fantasy football article. Is it okay to drop Mahomes? What's he 6?
He's terrible. He's terrible. And you know what what I'm looking forward to is, yes, the Chiefs keep winning, but it's defense in Indianapolis and in Dallas. We've got great defenses, and we got a great defense in Pittsburgh, and our defense in those games sort of let people down, whatever have you. I don't care who your defense is. It can't be top notch every week. It can't be. It can't be. And this is the year where, yes, on paper, the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. The Eagles are starting to roll. The Ravens do put up points. They haven't put up points against great defense like the Steelers have. Fellas, yes, they as in the Steelers have to bring their A game, but I'm not as worried about the second half of this season as I was 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. Let's put it that way. I just see kinks in the armor in all the teams. I do.
Yeah.
Including the Steelers, though. But including the Steelers. That here's what I also said today. I was talking, some water cooler talk with Noobs and a couple other people, and I said, I think they had a very vanilla game plan going into this. They sat people that it could probably have played if they really needed them to play, maybe Zach Frazier, maybe Carterell Patterson. They could have played those guys if they really needed them. But I think they put together essentially a pretty vanilla defense and a functioning offense with plays made by Russ that, let's not tip our hand. Let's not tip our hand going forward.
It's funny you say that.
It's freaking 8. What did they got to tip?
Well, it's funny you said that because they ran a play where Hayward started on the line and then he was shuffled back to fullback. Then they ran a play action off it to the tight end. Then they ran that same thing where he shuffled back to fullback. Then they ran it. Then after when they came out of halftime, they ran that same play. Play action to the tight end. I said, man,
he's the play action. Russ is the play action prince. They got it. He does it all the time. Back to Mahomes. I think they're winning in spite of him. He's 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Yes, drop him from your fantasy. That's terrible.
He's not doing well.
Steelers, Chops, you're not worried about their schedule coming out of the bye week. They got division rivals.
Hold on. You're right. And here's my thing.
They play shitty all the time against these teams. What are the Browns 3-4 3-6 or something, 3-5.
But here's the thing.
And
I don't
they
know
played
when's
them
the
twice.
last time the Steelers have been swept by the division rivals. They may split or the Steelers will split them, but Steelers don't get swept that often. Okay. And when I say I'm not as worried, at the beginning of the season says I figured the Eagles to be right up there at damn near 8-1, 9-1. They fell off for a couple weeks.
Okay, so they split. Say they split. That's 9-5.
I expected the Chiefs. I expected the Chiefs. They are still undefeated, but this is not this Chiefs team this year reminds me. Remember when the Steelers were 11-0
in 2020?
Yeah, exactly, Mark. They're 7-0. You're like, oh, you got lucky in a couple of those ones, and I understand when this one looked good, the next one. However, but sis, here's also my thing. Why I'm geeked now. I'm putting this out there. If Lamar Jackson and they play a team that can shut down the run, Lamar can still pass. But we're not worried about him passing like we would a Mahomes or an Allen.
We want him to pass.
You're right. If the Steelers get into it with someone and they shut down our pass and your boy Russ is terrible, you can bring your boy Fields in that same game plan. Now he can run, which can change the dynamic, but he can also pass off of that run. Where Russ can't really do that. I'm feeling a whole lot better. I really am. At this bye week, I'm feeling a lot better than I was a few weeks ago. And I'm just keeping it a buck.
With Fields' hamstring now. What's going on with that?
Let's put this. Go ahead, say it, Dream. Go ahead and say it because your face looks like what I'm thinking.
I was just wondering if they were thinking about trading him.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
I'm not saying I would. I was just wondering, like, where'd that come from? Like, where did like Devontae Adams had a hamstring also, but then he went to the Jets and he played.
Yeah, but here's my thing, and they're talking about Fields and a hamstring. Well, I didn't start hearing about this until last week because going into the
Saturday.
Week after, yeah. So I'm like, what is this? I don't know what this was and you got a hamstring taking second string reps because we knew Russ was starting. So I don't. And again, if it is great, you didn't play yesterday, so you sat out for the last 2 weeks. You got a bye week. You're good. You're good.
You want my scandalous point of view?
Yeah,
I think what's going on is this, fellas. If he plays X amount of games, gets X amount of snaps, they have to give up a fourth-round pick. If he only plays X amount of games and doesn't, get X amount of snaps, they only give up a sixth-round pick. So I think one of the things that happened to the Steelers when they brought these two guys in, and this is just my premonition, just because of the way they've handled other guys, I think what they did is they sat both of those guys down at the same time, separately, then at the same time. And they said, here's the way we want to unravel this. Maybe Russ could have started the first game of the season. We don't know that. They kept saying he had, he had
calf injury.
But do we know that? We don't know that for sure.
You're right. Barbara, you're absolutely right. And as much as I personally have gotten on Tomlin at times for what he's done coaching or how his guys don't run through a wall for him, he's always been able to king of one-liners. He can sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white. So I believe he could. I believe he could. I believe he sat those guys down first week and said, look here, here's what we're doing. And he might have sold them this way. Look here. Fields, you're a great athlete, but basically we got you for a permani sandwich and a large drink at Sheets. Russ, nobody wanted you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to sit you down and where I'm going to start Fields. I'm going to sit you, Russ. We're going to play you, Fields. We're going to play you, Russ, whatever have you. They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't argue. They couldn't complain. You know what I mean? And we're getting the best of both of them. Russ needs tape if he wants to go anywhere and play anywhere after this season. Fields needs tape because he needs to show other teams if the Steelers don't keep him, I can still play. We're getting the best out of both of them. I really think that, man. And regardless of what you think of Tomlin, he can manage guys that want to be there.
He's a player's coach.
Yeah,
he's a player's coach, and he's a coach's coach. Those guys love him too.
Go back to Lamar real quick. He's the fifth leading passer in the league with over 2,000 yards.
He is.
17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 500 yards running. What are you going to plan for?
Hold on. Hold on. But think about it. Hold on, Sis.
Look at
You're
his
absolutely
passing.
right.
I just told you.
Sis, you're absolutely right. His numbers are great. But do you realize in the fourth quarter, nobody has given up more touchdown passes with leads than the Ravens? Not only this year, but as well since for the last 2 seasons. So regardless of what he's doing through 1 through 3, those numbers aren't carrying over until fourth quarter because the Ravens are in some nail biters, and the Ravens been giving it up like a freshman at prom these last couple games, fellas. Just keep it a buck. You've seen it. You've seen it. They have. And I got my boy who grew up with my brother Malaki. Joe, man, he's a huge Ravens fan. I've been texting him. I got him.
What?
Oh, I'm like, well, don't forget out of Clarence, he was at Ravens camp. He was at Ravens camp, and he ended up making through the first cuts. That when they still have multiple cuts, he made it through the first cut. So he's sentimental after when he left Clarence. He was at Ravens camp. However, I clown him in the Ratbirds. I clown him in the Ratbirds every chance I get. And as soon as they start giving it up, my first text. I got it ready. I got everything ready. All I need is for them to get that first one up, and then boom. And last week, when your boy Hamilton dropped that pass, I said, count it. Yes, again, going back what Sis says, yes, Lamar's numbers look good. They do. But for some reason, that defense keeps giving it up.
His numbers looked great last year too, Chops. He
hasn't played against our defense, though.
Hey, let me just say something to you. He's 2-4 in the playoffs.
Yes.
That in and of itself speaks volumes. It's all about winning the Super Bowl. And he's 2-4 in the playoffs. You can keep getting in pieces. Hey, big deal. They got Deontay Johnson today. What did Deontay Johnson do in Pittsburgh? Yeah, he made catches. Yeah, he ran good routes. But he also was a pain in the ass in the locker room, and that's why they got rid of him. They don't need guys like that, okay? I'm sorry. They have one Pickens, and Pickens is better than Johnson ever would be. And I'll stick with that.
But we got to be real, though. You see receivers.
Are we keeping it a buck?
Yeah, when Deontay was terrible, he was mad because our quarterback was terrible. Pickens couldn't get him the ball. So I don't think he'll have that problem in Ravens country, Lamar getting the ball. But my thing is, even though Lamar's 2-4, I can't knock him on being 2-4 because at least he's won a couple playoff games. We haven't done that yet. We got to at least do that before we start kicking sand in somebody else's face. We got to win it.
We'll see. We'll see, because I still think the Pittsburgh, if they don't split it, I think they could win both of those games. I do.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely.
I don't. After I watched him lose to Crab Leg on Sunday, Crab Leg played good, man. Crab Leg was on point. He's scarier than Deshaun Watson. You know what I'm saying? Like Crab Leg brought his A game. And I always liked Crab Leg. When he was out there before we drafted Pickett, I was kind of like, we might want to take a flyer on Crab Leg.
I know. He can still play. And once he got his peepers checked, he doesn't throw as many interceptions. Once he got his peepers fixed.
Stop talking about them crab legs. You make me run up to the seafood buffet here. They just opened up in Germantown.
Oh, yeah? Hey, we got to move on from the Steelers, fellas. We got a couple more things to say before our guest comes on tonight. The Commanders, the Hail Mary pass. I think that was amazing, and I really love Jaden Daniels. But you know what I think was even more amazing? That asshat Stevenson from the Bears giving shit to the Commanders fans, and he's the one who tips it into Noah Brown's hands. I thought that was just poetic justice right there, baby.
What could you be saying to the fans? But
that's like bringing the band out on the field before the game is over.
Yeah, but that's crazy. That was crazy.
And the worst part about it is, and you can say what we want, but as a society, we love kicking. They say don't kick a man when he's down. As Americans, we do it better than anybody else. Kick somebody when they're down. Because the fact of the matter is, we
love that shit in America. That's what it's all about.
Hell yeah. Because think about it, fellas. When you're right, he was, kind of joking to the fans, what a lot of athletes do. But also in the same token, he still had, after he realized what was going on, there was still almost 12 seconds before he got the ball. You know what I mean? He got the ball, or the ball was in his hand. He tipped it. And that was just the luck of the draw that it actually got me, because we've seen other Hail Marys.
Hey, I heard a really funny thing today. It took little man Kelvin Austin 12 seconds to return that punt for a touchdown. The same amount of time it took Daniels to get himself opened up to make that throw. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Man.
Hey, let's talk about the Jets real quick. What a freaking mess that place is. They get the coach fired. They bring in Devontae Adams because he was going to be the save-all for Mr. Prickly Pants. They are a disaster. Read today that Rex Ryan, defense coordinator from Dallas, is trying to position himself to get that head job again.
No, Rex Ryan. Rex is on ESPN.
On game day.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Which Ryan? Am I thinking Ryan?
Yeah, but I know you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Rex. Rex said he could do better. He did say he could do a better job on the show.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of
like I said, fellas. I love it. You want to give Rodgers all that power? Fellas, they said this is what he's had 30 games without a 300-yard passing game. So that means he had a season and a half, even in Green Bay, where he did nothing, yet they put they believed that he was the savior. So I'm glad. I love it.
They were showing his passes, and he looks like. Remember when Ben at the end was doing those little?
I was just gonna say that.
That's what he's doing. Like they were scared to go down the middle, I guess, because they don't want him to get. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you can't. If you can throw here, I don't know how you can't throw here. Like that's just weird to me. But.
And the crazy part about it is, when you fired the head coach and made all these changes, let Rodgers miss time, this, that, and whatever. And he calls players out. And first thing we got to do is stop listening to you guys, the media. Well, the media was giving you love for weeks. The media has been giving you love. So why he said that, again, not taking accountability, I don't understand why he's not throwing down the field. Maybe he's gun shy himself and realized he can't do it like he used to because he's looked bad.
You know what sets Ben apart from Aaron Rodgers? Even in his old years, as he got down to the end, he stayed with the Steelers.
Well, he wasn't an ass about it. How Rodgers is an ass about it. Like if you drop one ball, it'll be first down, you miss it, and he'd be like, oh, and then on second and third, he throws shitty passes. He don't, no one says nothing to him. Like, dude, you stink.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ben used to throw a teammate or two under the bus every now and again. Don't forget, he questioned on live TV why they even drafted Mason Rudolph.
Oh yeah.
So right now, but Ben wasn't the kind who was saying he wanted out, or he was, Ben was showing up when he needed to be there.
He also told Bussy he was going to give him one of these after every game, and he took it to the Super Bowl and gave him that goddamn ball. I don't care.
Yeah, he did. And even when your boy was throwing multiple interception games, Ben, you could tell he was still trying. It didn't even look like Rodgers is trying. It's like I thought, okay, oh well, what the hell? I mean, he's on a podcast with old boy every week or whatever. He doesn't. Rodgers, it doesn't, and you can't judge what's in a man's heart, but Rodgers just doesn't look like he cares.
No. Hey, the Yankees guys, the Yankees and the Dodgers, two $300 million teams. One of them is performing like a $300 million team. The other one is performing like the Pittsburgh Pirates, kind of. It's insane. I don't care who wins that. Both teams, for my friends who are Yankees fans, for my friends that are Dodgers fans, I'm happy for you that your teams are in it. But I have a very hard time of watching two $300 million teams play baseball for the World Series. I do. I just think it's insane. I think Major League Baseball has let this get out of control. And then when I heard yesterday, I think it was, that Soto is going to be courted by the Dodgers, their payroll will be fucking $360 million. Do you think I want to? Do you think I want to?
That's just insane.
Yeah. Do you think I want to tune in and watch that? Yeah, that's an all-star team. That's an all-star team against everybody else.
That's a GDP for most third world countries.
Yes.
And I'm just surprised that you have that many fans, Yankees fans and Dodgers fans. Holy heck.
Well,
Dodgers are outscoring the Yankees 2-1, 14-7. What's going on with the Bronx Bombers?
Yankees fans,
I don't think too much. Hey, Frankie, have faith, baby, because I don't think they're coming back.
Well, Yankees fans, if they're from New York, of course, they're like that. They don't care that they're buying a championship or whatever have you. But the Yankees and Dodgers, two historically loved franchises. I get it, but it's just getting out of hand. You know what I mean? It just. Yeah. These payrolls are getting out of hand.
Hey, that Monday night podcast I'm on with South Florida Tribune is 108 Stitches baseball podcast. we looked up some numbers. They're averaging about 13 million viewers for those games. That's basically LA and New York. Now, we looked up the numbers in Japan. They're having about 15 million viewers.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're getting more viewers in Japan to watch this than they're getting in the United States where this is going on. And I mean, like I said, for my friends that are Yankees and Dodgers fans, you know, I hope your team ends up coming out on top just for you guys. I know what that feels like. But at the end of the day, as a bitter Pittsburgh Pirate fan, they had $105 million payroll at the end of the season. That's 1/3 of the payroll that you guys have. And we have I have a distorted outlook on it, and we'll just call it what I see.
Konnichiwa, you could kiss my ass, because how are you creating a competitive environment? Nobody wants to watch this shit. Again, a bitter Pittsburgh fan, but how are you even going to put somebody on the same field? I know. Right. We're a minor league. Basically, we're a farm system right now. We're a farm system compared to a $300 million franchise.
But y'all know that's the way of y'all know that's the way of how it is these days, where kids want to go to the school. I've told you this 100 times. Listen, I don't want to go to a college where they got a trophy of Mark out front. I want my own goddamn statue. I want to make my own legacy. I don't want to go to Alabama and ride everyone else's coattails. But that's what we do. That's how it is. Listen, Montgomery County football, you got Quince Orchard Northwest every year. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Then you go down to PG County and you got Wise. You know, I mean, you come up to Frederick County, you got Linganore, you got Oakdale. Yeah, you know, maybe Middletown sometimes, maybe Walkersville sometimes.
Yeah, kids are going to the best. Kids are transferring and going to the best school. So I mean, that's what it is these days, man.
But this is different. This is, you know, NFL has a cap. Why can't the NBA or NFL, whatever hell, baseball, put a cap on this to say, hey, we want more parity. We want this to be a little bit even playing field. Right. We don't want the same people, same teams buying their rings. No,
yes. You know, I think the only way, and I know we've kind of touched on this, but I think the only way that shit's ever going to work is if they split it into two leagues, like they do in soccer and European soccer. And if you win your league, you get a shot at moving up to play with the big boys, because there's no way you'll ever see some of these teams that are playing, and so many reasons why, but there's no way you'll ever see a Pittsburgh compete with the Dodgers and the Yankees when it comes to having top-notch talent, signing guys for millions of dollars. And plus, you know, think about this, fellas. They signed Ohtani to a $700 million contract, right? He makes pennies right now. But down the road, when we're dead and gone, he's still going to be cashing in.
Yeah,
he's still going to be getting that money because they backloaded it. They manipulated the system and backloaded it. So, you know, like I said, I don't wish ill will on those teams, but I don't give a shit who wins it. I really don't. It doesn't, you know, as far as I'm concerned, there needs to be an asterisk beside it in the record books and saying this team had spent $300 million when the average in the league is $150 million. You know, because I think that's what they said the average is in Major League Baseball is about $150, $170 million. You know, oh, big deal. I gotta pay a luxury tax. Oh, wow. If you can have a $300 million payroll, you sure as hell can pay a luxury tax, right? Hey, two more things before our boy comes on from the Dolphins, hopefully. Penn State and Ohio State this weekend, and then Pitt and SMU. Two huge games for us as former Pittsburghers. Penn State, can they beat them in Ohio? Can Penn State beat Ohio State at Penn State? You know, there's a whiteout coming, right?
I think this year, yes.
Interesting. What makes them different this year, Sheen?
I think Ohio State is down. I watched them play this past week, and they just weren't the same. Ohio State. I think it was who they played. Who did they play? It wasn't someone good. It was Nebraska. It was Nebraska. They played Nebraska.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't the same Ohio State. I was sitting there watching, And I said to my dad, I said, this might be the year Penn State can get over the hump.
Well, I want to say that, but over the years when I thought Penn State had a chance to do it, Penn State would end up beating themselves. And when I say beating that, missing a tackle, and that's what I'm worried about. And again, I don't have the dislike for him as Barber does, but I'm not sold on Franklin. Nobody. Right. We need to see him do it before we can start. I need to see him do it before I can start believing in him. I haven't seen him knock off Ohio State. That's what I need to see. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we'll see.
Ohio State's favored by 3.5 for this game. Penn State's undefeated, and Ohio State has one loss. That
I hate it 11, and it's an early game.
Loss against Oregon.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, that they beat Ohio State beat themselves on that because I thought they had a chance to win that just to miss.
We'll have to come back to that.
They lost by one.
Yeah, let's circle back. Chops, can you do a little intro for your guest that you brought on for us? This is going to be an awesome conversation going forward.
Yes. This is my guy Mike from Dolphins Talk. They know if there's anything to be known about them, their Miami Dolphins, they know it. You got to follow these guys on Dolphins Talk, and he'll get more of what they do. But if everything's Dolphins, they are down, and I can't wait. There he is. There's my guy Mike.
Hey,
Mike, how you doing?
How are you guys doing? I'm doing fantastic. I am doing fantastic. My throat's a little scratchy tonight, but I'm going to play through it. I'm going to play with some pain. I'm going to play through it for you guys, and I'll come through. So ask me anything you want when it comes to the Dolphins.
I know. Real quick, I heard earlier today, I saw you were on your 2 to 5. You're letting your buddy know your voice is a little scratchy. It was going out on you.
Dang airplane, because I was in an airplane over the weekend, and that little fan above the seat kept blowing on me, which I should have turned it off, but I fell asleep. Next thing I woke up, my throat's a little sore. What are you going to do?
All right, we'll get to the meat and potatoes of it, Mike. We won't keep you long. Real quick.
Yeah.
Season off to a little slow start with 2-5, but you've also dealt with some injuries, now. I want you, if you can talk a little bit about yesterday's loss, because as I was listening today, there wasn't one person you can put it on, but what happened the way they lost yesterday, is that pretty much encapsulate the season where there's a little bit of blame to go around what's your take after 7 games in?
Yeah. It's not just one thing. It's like a million little things. They, this roster was built wrong in the offseason. They let go, or they didn't choose to re-sign a lot of young players they drafted whose contracts are up. Guys, not just a first round pick guys, but guys in rounds 2, 3, and 4 who they were nice players, like Andrew Van Ginkel, like Brandon Jones, like Robert Hunt, who I know got a boatload of money, but if they were more proactive with him, they could have maybe locked him up a year too early before he played himself into a mega deal. Christian Wilkins, same thing. Be more proactive. You see this guy's good year 3. Don't let him get to past year 5 when now you can't afford him. You knew he was good back then. Try to be proactive, lock him up then. So those guys are all gone, and who do they replace him with? A bunch of old men who aren't very good anymore past their prime. Jordan Poyer at safety, was a good player for the Bills. Has been really bad with the Dolphins this year. Calais Campbell's still good, but he's 38. He can only play about 30 to 35 snaps. So a lot of it is injuries. It's not so much the injuries. It's how the roster was built in the offseason. And then, of course, not having a legitimate number 2 quarterback killed this team. Because, yes, Tua was he played every game last year. But last year's the outlier, because you look at every year, even heading back to Alabama, there's been injuries. He's missed games. And to not have a competent number 2 quarterback crippled this team, because games versus the Colts, they should have won. Home versus the Titans, they should have won. Even when they went to Seattle, they should have won, but they didn't have a quarterback who's any good. And, the Tyler Huntley, Skylar Thompsons of the world, you can't win even against the bad teams. So then he comes back to plays well this week, but when you're 2-4, you have no margin for error. And he plays good, not great, versus Arizona. But when you have mistakes on everywhere else on the team and you lose, well, your margin for error is gone. That's how you get to 2-5. And any chance of the playoffs is probably out the window.
I got you.
Interesting.
Hey, Mike. Hey, when we talk injuries to the Dolphins, of course, Tua is front and center. Was retirement something you think he ever considered while he was out?
No. He does not want to retire. And even if he did, he will never admit it because he has an army of agents. Who knows? If he even mentions that to the press at any time, then when the time comes to move on from him, there's going to be a fight over how much money he is owed, how much money he is due with that contract, which has a lot of out clauses over the next 3 to 5 years. There's like March 14th of this year, he is due $54 million more fully guaranteed. If the Dolphins want to move on from him, yes, they're still going to have to eat a large chunk of money, but they could rip the Band-Aid off rather quickly here and not have to pay him $54 million. So if he starts talking about retirement and head injuries, what do you think the Miami Dolphins and their team of lawyers are going to do? Well, we would pay him, but he said he wanted to quit. So then it becomes illegal. So he is never, even if he wanted to, he'll never admit it, but he don't want to. He wants to play. And he feels he's been railroaded, like a lot of people have these types of injuries. Why am I the only one who gets all the attention? Which I say, in my opinion, because yours are different. Yes, a lot of players do have concussions. How many players are in that fencing type of position on the field where their arm locks up their finger? Yeah. It's different. It just is. So he is going to be under the microscope and get more attention. But he was never going to retire, and he's not going to retire probably. He might not play his whole time in the league in Miami, but for now he's their quarterback, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Even if this season is going to go sideways, which I think it will, they are 2-5. The next 2 games are at the Bills, at the Rams. Once they're 2-6, 2-7, which I think they will be, honestly. You got to keep playing him because you got to know if he can take a hit. Because if he can't, at some point, just from a football perspective, the team has to make a call of what's best for the team, for the fans, for the other players on team, because let's see if he can take a hit. I don't know if he can. I mean, obviously, you don't want your guy to get hit ever at that position, but we know that's impossible and he will get hit. So can he take a hit or two and bounce up, or is it now every time he gets somewhat of a big hit, which even these last 2 concussions weren't even big hits, is it going to be this type of an issue? So they got to know. And I think that's why no matter how bad it gets, you keep throwing them out there because they got to find out.
Mike, you a Paisan? You a Paisan?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Hey, Paisan, what's the feeling of the fan base down there, though, about this? Do they want somebody else in there, or do they want
They're
Tua
mad
back?
as hell. Huh? When it comes to the quarterback, most of the fans support they have supported this. I've never seen nothing like it. They support this kid through thick and thin. They put him on a pedestal where he can do no wrong. They love him. Now, the fans, where they're pissed, is this general manager and the head coach right now. The general manager has been employed by the Dolphins for 25 years. He hasn't been the general manager the whole time. He's only been the general manager since 2016, and they are fed up with him. They are fed up with him that he can't be gone soon enough because he actually built this mess. The head coach, who everyone loved up until this year, the bloom is off that rose too. Nobody wants to hear the funny jokes anymore. No one wants to hear, they just want to win. And with him, he's gotten worse from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. But with the quarterback, they still love this quarterback. But I do think with this last injury, some of his support is dwindled. And I think one more injury like that, I think even the diehard fans he has will be like, I love you, but it's time to move on. And I think that's where most of the fan base is with him. But they still believe in him.
Do you think they'll shop for a guy who has his same skill set? Because they're going to need that if they're going to keep McDaniel, because he ain't changing his offense. That's for damn sure.
No, you're 100% right there. They should. I don't know if they will, because their answer for a competent number 2 was Mike White and Skylar Thompson. And I know Mike White had like a moment with the Jets, but Mike White was never good with the Jets. He just wasn't Zach Wilson. Anyone who's not Zach Wilson, they loved. But Mike White was never any good. And he was so bad this August in camp that Skylar Thompson was really not any good either. He made Skylar Thompson look like Joe Montana. So they're like, well, Mike White's got to go, and let's play Skylar Thompson. But then when he had to actually play Thompson in like a real game, he looked like Skylar Thompson. But, if I can see that from this office, and if people who go every day to practice who write for like the Miami Herald, Sun Sentinel, if they can see that, and the people in the position of powers don't see that, well, that's where the problem lies. Like, how could you not see this every day? This guy was bad in practice every day. He was bad in the they both were bad in the preseason games. And you thought that was a competent answer to a quarterback who, outside of 1 year, which was last year, is injured and misses games often.
There's whispers that they're going to dangle a big size carrot out in front of Justin Fields because he has basically that same skill set as Tua. Maybe not as accurate as Tua, but about the same skill set, and he runs a little better than Tua. Are you hearing any of those whispers?
I haven't heard that one, but I don't know why Pittsburgh would want to move on from him. I don't know how many more.
He's a free agent after this year.
Oh, he is?
Him and Russ are not under contract after this year. They didn't pick up his 5th year, and Russ has a 1-year deal.
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't heard that. I think if Miami does something at quarterback, it's going to be in the draft. I think the kid from LSU, Nussmeier, if I said that right, is a perfect fit for a Mike McDaniel offense. He actually is. Now, you might be able to get him maybe around 2 even. I don't know. We all know those guys get pushed up the board. So probably. But if they're anywhere near the top 10 when it's all said and done in this draft, which I think they will be, then I think you got to make a move to get someone near the top 10 because you don't plan on being in or near the top 10 often. So I think that's where you do make a move. And because with his contract, again, as I said, with his contract, there's outs they can get out of along the way. And I think you want to have you want someone on the roster for that oh crap moment if it happens again, and someone who can also be a competent number 2, but who also might be your future as a number 1 for if or when this happens again. You can just say, okay, we don't have to scramble to find our quarterback of the future. We got a guy already here. Throw him in that spot. It's a unique situation. Not a lot of teams are in this situation, but that's a situation they're in. And I think really the rest of the way is not about making the playoffs. It's because it's impossible 2-5. It's about seeing if he can take a hit, how well he plays, if he can continue to play well, and because that's going to go a long way into answering questions they're going to have to answer in the offseason of who stays, who goes, do we move forward with him? Are we going to give him that $54 million March 14th and all that stuff?
You know, the Dolphins are holding their damn breath. They think that they need to prove if he can take a hit. He could take a hit right to the grave. He could take a hit right to the grave, my man. But the Dolphins talking about sitting at 2-5. A lot of teams making moves right about now, trying to figure out, do we make a push, one last try, attempt for this thing, or we just start shopping some of these guys around like Mostert, Holland, Hill. Where'd he go?
He's there.
Damn.
Oh, okay. Someone clicking things. Do any of these guys stay? They traded? What's going on with them?
I'd be very surprised if they buy anybody just because of their salary cap situation heading into next year. Right now, they're projected a bunch over. Obviously, there's a lot of small moves they could make to get under easily. But to buy, I don't think they want to add. And plus, right now, they have 10 picks in the 2025 draft, which is a nice place to be at. I think you would only want to add more to that. I think because you have to remember, when Mike McDaniel got here, they traded a bunch of picks for Tyreek. They traded a bunch of picks for Chubb, and then they traded a 3rd-round pick for Ramsey. Then they got the punishment with the tampering for Sean Payton and Tom Brady, so they lost picks in rounds 1, 2, and 4. I think they're 1, 2, and 3 over the course of a few drafts. They haven't had a lot of early-round picks in recent years. This year was their first pick in round 1 in like 3 years. So I think they got to start to replenish this roster from so many drafts where they didn't have picks. Yes, you get someone like Tyreek Hill catching for 1,800 yards. The hell with a pick in round 2 or a pick in round 1. You're happy with that. But at some point, the chickens come home to roost, and you got to get those young players on rookie contracts. So I think they won't be at 2-5. I'd be stunned if they traded for anybody. But they could trade away some older guys, someone like an Armstead for a team who needs a left tackle, Raheem Mostert for a team who might need a running back, maybe a team like the Cowboys or something like that. You know, again, what are you going to get? Probably a 5th, 6th, or 7th. Okay, but just stockpile as many picks as you can get in a lost season for guys who probably won't be here next year anyways. And for a lot of these older guys, they're probably not going to be here next year anyway, just based on how their contracts are structured. And guys they already have in the system, like Raheem Mostert. You already got Achane and Jalen Wright, who's been sensational thus far. You don't need Mostert. You can trade him now. Same thing with Armstead. They took Patrick Paul in round 2 out of Houston. 2nd-round pick, you expect him to start here. So you can maybe move someone like Armstead. There's guys like that. Chubb, who should be coming back soon. You could trade him to a team that might want one more edge rusher here. Final push. You took Chop Robinson in round 1. Jalen Phillips really is your future there anyways. Yes, he's not hurt, but okay. And also Mohamed Kamara, who they took around 5, has shown some flashes in the limited time he's played. So someone like him could be sent away. The older guys who aren't going to be here next year, sell them off if they can, if they want to, but they're not going to buy anybody.
What's the feeling about Tyreek, though? Well, is he a piece that you'd rather move? Because I get that he's still a stud if he has the quarterback to get him the ball. Okay, that makes perfect sense to me. But He is getting up in age. He's going to start showing some signs at some point real soon. Do you push his big contract off to somebody else and try and get some draft picks for that?
If someone wanted it, I think they would. I don't know if anybody would want that contract. Here's the deal with Tyreek. He is a unicorn. I know there's a lot of off-the-field stuff you got to put up with, but on Sunday, and this year is kind of tough because he had Tua for week 1, part of week 2, and just this past week. With those other guys, they had no chance to even get him the ball because they were so bad. So this year is almost like a throwaway year. He is still that special. He can get open versus anybody. If a team offered the right deal, I trade my own mother. Anybody you trade away for the right deal. Let's be honest. But I don't think a team's going to want that contract, and because it's a lot to put up with him. And you do got to put up with a lot of the off-the-field stuff with him. There's too much to even mention on this show because we'd be here to 10 o'clock Eastern time. But he is still special. And I don't know if you want to trade away. So, I mean, I think he's one of the top 5 wide receivers ever played this in the league. He's that good. So I don't know if they want to trade him off per se. But...
Hey, goodbye. Can your mother still run like that?
No.
Hey, let's take a look at McDaniel. Is he going to be on the hot seat if this team tanks this year, if they just don't get it done? Even getting Tua back, are they going to look at moving on from him?
Well, here's the problem. In August, they just gave him a big money contract extension. Yeah. That's the problem. I think more of this blame goes to the GM because, like I said, he's been here 24 years. Not all the GM, but he's been in the building. He's had a voice. He's moved up the ladder. But since 2016, he's been the GM. That's 8 years. Not one playoff win, not one AFC East crown in 8 years. And he's on his 3rd head coach because it was with Adam Gase, Flores. We all know what happened there. And now Mike McDaniel. How many GMs get 3 head coaches? How many GMs get 8 years and there's no results? Few. I think he's going to be the first one to fall. And whoever they hire after him, he'll probably make the call on the head coach. But I think the owner's going to want someone like, look, I just wrote this guy a huge check. Can we at least try one more year with him before you cut the axe on him? So I think McDaniel, no matter how bad it gets this year, and it might get bad, they still have to travel to Houston, to the Packers. They got to play at the Rams at this week versus the Bills on the road. Those are all road games. That's not counting games. 2 games versus the Jets. I know the Jets are a mess too, but okay, they're at least in some of these games and feisty, just like us. I mean, it's like there's a lot of not easy games outside of the Patriots and Raiders at home. Not a lot of easy games left on their schedule. So if this season goes bad, or it gets worse than what it is because it's already bad, I think he might survive this, but the general manager won't.
And it's funny you mentioned it, Mike, and we get you out of here if you can give us one more minute. Real quick. Okay, like you said, traveling this week, go to Buffalo. Divisional game against a divisional leader. Being honest, how you feeling about the game? What are Dolphins' keys to victory to get to walk out of there with a win?
Keys of victory, pray. We have lost 14 of 16 to the Bills. Think about this. We have lost 14 of 16 to the Bills in the last 16 matchups. That is, they have our number.
Wow.
They just have our number. And this year, Josh Allen's got 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. And we have a mess on offense and defense and special teams. I don't think we're going to break this streak or be in the mix where we finally get a win against them this year of all years. So I think their continued success against the Miami Dolphins will continue this week with quite ease. And after this week, they will think about this if you're the Bills in the AFC East. And the first week of November, because that game's on November 2nd, whatever it is, they're going to have a 5.5 game lead over everyone else in the AFC East. They've pretty much locked up a first-round home playoff game. They've locked up the AFC East. If there's someone, yes, you want to be the 1 seed and all that stuff, great. Go, and they can easily get that. But they have essentially locked up a home playoff game Halloween week. Has that ever been done before in the NFL?
No.
Wow.
No, and you know what? That's a team that lost all their receivers.
And they still found a way. They overcame. No excuses. They got around it. Smart coaching. And I still think they should make a move for wide receiver. Well, they did with
Amari Cooper.
I
got Cooper 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they did. So, they have been the model of success. I know they haven't gotten to the Super Bowl. They haven't gotten things that they want to achieve. but compared to where we are as Dolphins fans, they're light years in front of us. We're not even in the same stratosphere as them.
God rest his soul. Mercury Morris is probably turned over his grave right now after all this.
Oh man, I'm sure he is.
Mike,
Hey, it's not Marino. Relax. It's okay.
Man, Mike, we cannot thank you enough for spending this time. Real quick, you tell us what Dolphins Talk got going on. Just tell us real quick about Dolphins Talk. Quick 30 seconds or.
Yeah, we cover the Miami Dolphins year-round, whether it's in season, we cover the draft and other moves in the offseason. And with the Dolphins, whether it's a wide receiver week 1 who's being arrested or whether it's a coach who's getting in trouble in the offseason, we always got something to talk about with the Dolphins. It's never boring. You might think, what is there to talk about in May? Trust me, they'll do something to have us be talking about them in May and June. So if you want to know anything about the Miami Dolphins year-round, we got them covered, win, lose, no matter what, at dolphinstalk.com.
Mike, we appreciate you being with us. You take care, Paisan.
Thank you.
You too. All right, have a good one, guys.
You too. That was good stuff, fellas. I can't believe how the fans really circle around Tua that much. That's kind of interesting to me, although he is a pretty good character. Everything you hear about him. But the other thing I can't believe is his family's good with it. Like I don't know. Like he got little kids at home, man. Is he even 30? He's not even 30 years old. He got little kids at home. He's going to be doing one of those crazy things like the other guys that have gotten CTE, and that's what bothers me the most.
He's 26.
Yeah, that's what bothers me the most. Hey,
he was only 26.
Oh yeah, he's young.
26.
Yep.
When you look at Tua, it looks like it has rained and snowed on his head for 36 or 37 years or more. He looks old, Jack.
Yeah. He don't got that typical Hawaiian.
No. Jeez.
Hey, we missed
like somebody's uncle.
We missed a couple of things when Mike came in. I wanted to finish up. I will call him a couple quick shots. Pitt plays SMU this week. Pitt's 7-0. Man, it's been how long's it been since Pitt's been 7-0? It's the 80s, right?
82.
Yeah, 82. I was still in high school, bro. I was still in high school. Hell to Pitt.
I think we lost to SMU in the Cotton Bowl, 7-3.
Sheen, I love that fact you dropped on me about how much money SMU has coming in. Now, keep in mind, SMU is a Dallas school, and it is a private school. It's a Methodist school.
Yeah.
But Sheen, drop that nugget on everybody. They need to hear this.
Close to, I think they raised 159 in like a couple months, and it's down there up to almost 200 million.
$200 million for NIL, fellas.
SMU. Well, hold on, Mark. Don't forget how with the Pony Express, that used to be a powerhouse before they got.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That kind of goes back to the Dodgers and Yankees. Like you have NIL in areas where there's oil. Like money's crazy.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey,
Pitt,
the other thing
it still bothers me with Pitt though. Pitt is a prestigious university, has some big known boosters. Their NIL money should be bigger. Their money should be bigger. I just think it should
that
be
university hospital alone that pumps out all those doctors and stuff, they should be able to be pumping some money back into the NIL.
UPMC, yeah, fellas.
We'll see with the new athletic director.
They're pumping it at the south side.
I like him so much better than Heather Light, to tell you the truth. I like Pitt though in this game. Sheen and I were talking. We both like Pitt in this game. I just think that they're going to go down to SMU and play a hell of a brand of ball. They brought it to Syracuse. That was amazing to watch. I was so excited. You'd have thought I was cheering for the Steelers in the Super Bowl. You know, I'm really looking forward to that game. The last one I want to talk about, fellas, and then we're going to wrap the show up. We're going to do this in about 30 seconds. Anthony Richardson, he tapped out Sunday. Hold on. What starting NFL quarterback taps out?
Fellas, real quick, 10 seconds. You guys keep getting mad. I'm telling you, we're seeing these younger athletes do stupid shit all the time, and nobody's holding them accountable. Pickens got called out for it, but we see some of these young DBs not going, trying to make contact. We see some of these young DBs running half-ass routes. We see them with these DBs or whatever just not giving effort. And the fact that he felt that he could say, I'm tired, let you know, Mark, what we're dealing with. The fact that he wasn't smart enough to say, my hip, this, that, and whatever. Fellas, it is the world we are living in to where these young athletes, it doesn't even surprise me.
You said this a long time ago, Mark. He's not good.
No, he 50% passer in college in Florida. There's a reason he wasn't a highlighted guy in college because he has all the tools. He just doesn't have the mental wherewithal, and he showed it right there. He showed it. Joe Flacco's starting for Indianapolis this weekend, by the way.
Is he
and
sure?
And if he takes him to a victory, I don't see Richardson coming back anytime soon, to be honest with you. Hey, let's go ahead and share our social media. Sheen, go ahead. How can we find you?
I'm Rasheen Hill everywhere. Instagram, Facebook. I think I have Twitter or X, whatever it's called now.
Chops?
You know, on Twitter, on the X, it's the real Big Chops. On the gram, Big Chop 79. On the TikTok, it is Big Chops 824. And on the Facebook, it's by my government, Michael Gregory Mills. Holla at ya, boy.
No matter where you are, T-Sizz, it's always one T Youngie, huh?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you come up with that? But okay.
And I'll be at Kennedy High School tomorrow. Flag football, 3:45, round 2.
Woo, playoffs.
Go Falcons.
I mean, playoffs. We're talking
Falcons. Hey, you
Yeah.
can check us out anywhere you are. We just we're revising that webpage now. T-Sizzle's in charge of that webpage. So go check it out, podpage.com /original sports podcast with Mark Maradei. Follow us on Facebook, X, and Snapchat. All those are at OSP with MM. You can also follow our Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and watch us on YouTube. All that is Original Sports Podcast. Shout out to all of our networks out there. You got Let's Talk Sports, you got Sideline Sports, you got ESEN, Elite Sports and Entertainment, which we float their link tree out there so you could check them out everywhere. You got Manning Media Incorporated, Peak One Sports, and tonight I did an exclusive with National Streaming Sports, who were on that Roku station, and you may be watching it right now live. So big shout out to all those guys. Hey, catch up with us anytime. You can email us by hitting us at originalsportspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to Medley for doing our voice intro. Thanks to Charlie Hodgson for the music. Check us out on Saturday. Special show, 6 p.m. from Il Forno. But we'll be back next Tuesday as well. We look forward to having you join us Saturday. If you can make it out to Il Forno, 20% discount for mentioning OSP. We'll have a special guest, and we're going to be giving away some tickets for a local charity basketball game with the Harlem Wizards. Thanks again for joining us here on the Original Sports Podcast with Mark Maradei and the Barbershop Crew. Where'd you get that? Run, boys.